For this first DIY, I'm using a cutting board from the Dollar Tree, $1, and a free printable that I got from the Graphics Fairy. I can link that below for you. That website has free printables, and then it also has a paid version where they have a whole lot more printables. This one's from the free side, so this DIY cost me $1. And I'm going to go ahead and I will link that below for you. And I'm going to take this and Mod Podge this onto this cutting board. I was going to paint it. I decided against painting it because I feel like it's better if this cutting board matches the color of the other cutting board that I have. So this is actually going to be a swap out for my tiered tray that I did. I did an everyday tiered tray, and I'm going to swap out a couple pieces now and make it more for Easter. So I'm using the Mod Podge, the foam brush. I'm going to use the paper plate for the Mod Podge, and those are the tools I'm going to be using. This cutting board is 6x8, and the printable that I'm using is, I put it down to a 5x7 size. So what you're going to see me doing here is, I'm not real happy with the way I've torn it. I like this look, but I'm kind of sizing it up here, and you're going to see me tear it just a little bit more here and there real quick so that I can get it down to the size that I actually want it to be, and so that I feel like it looks right on this cutting board. So I keep sizing it up, and I'm doing a little tearing here so that I can get it just exactly the way that I want it to be. Okay, the second DIY for this Easter tray is the other cutting board that I already had on this tray. And I'm showing you right here how that's drying. It's drying nicely. I'm pretty happy with it. So I took my Cricut and I went to the Easter section in Cricut Access design space, and I printed off an Easter sign, and then I also printed off a little carrot, and I'm using removable vinyl so that I can take this off when Easter's over, and then if I want to make a different sign or a different design and put it on my cutting board, and I want to use my cutting board either on this tray or another tray or in some other capacity, I haven't permanently put the sign on there. I will be able to remove this vinyl when I'm done. I do find the removable vinyl a lot easier to use. I'm still having a little bit of trouble sometimes with the transfer tape there. It doesn't always want to work real well for me. And I think the more you use it, people say, the less sticky it gets, the little bit easier it is to use and transfer things. And I am finding that out as time goes by that that it is a little bit easier. So that little E there is a little bit messed up there. I'm just gonna kind of take one of my tools and I'm just gonna straighten that out just a little bit there. Okay, so if you are interested in how I styled this tray to begin with, I did this tray and I did 2 other trays, and they are everyday tiered trays, and I can link that up in the cards for you up in the right-hand corner, and I can also link that below in the description box for you. But I'm just going to switch some things around and switch a couple things out here and make it kind of a farmhouse Easter tiered tray now. If you saw my thrifting video that I made last month, you saw that I picked up this wooden tray and I got it for $3 at the Salvation Army. I was really happy to find it. And I'm just going to give it a good cleaning here with a crud cutter. I find that that works really well. And I'm just going to clean it up real quick before I start painting it. Rule of thumb, always start painting on the bottom of a piece so you can get the feel of how the paint and the material you're painting on works together. I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in plaster today. Okay, for the sake of time, this is 2 coats on this, bottom and sides, as you can see how that looks. You can still see a little bit of the wood through it. That's okay. I want it to look like that, and that's kind of what chalk paint does. So then I will show you, I still need to paint the inside, and I still need to paint 2 of the sides here. All right, I've moved to a new place because the sun was coming in and it was getting to be late evening and it was getting kind of shadowy, so I've moved to a different spot. I don't know about you, but when I do my DIYs, I'm kind of moving from place to place and all over depending on where I can get a spot to work on them. I don't have a single place that I use to work on my DIYs at the moment. All right, we're just going to start doing 2 coats of paint on the inside of this piece now. Okay, so for coat number 2, I'm going to grab a new foam brush, and then I'm also going to use one of these smaller brushes. One is longer than the other. I'm not sure really how much difference there is, but I'm going to use this to get into the corners and get the second coat on real quick here. So you can see I'm just going over this a second time. So the second coat really does make a difference. It fills it in nicely. I'm using these little tiny brushes in the corners. That worked out pretty well. I wanted it all covered. I didn't want there to be any like holes or like cracks, but I don't mind the paint kind of, you like being able to see the wood through the paint. I kind of like that look, and I do want it to look that way. So I'm good with 2 coats. I'm not going to go with 3. I'm not trying to do full coverage, and the chalk paint doesn't really do that anyway. It always leaves a little bit of like you can see underneath of it. And that's exactly what I want. All right, so I have this acrylic paint in buff, and this color I got I got it at Hobby Lobby. Got it a year or 2 ago. It's a large tube, and I've only used a little bit of it. So I'm just taking this small brush here, and I'm just taking a small amount of it. And instead of distressing this piece, because I don't really like the color of the wood underneath of it, so I really kind of want a different color distressing it because I want this to have a French country look to it. So I'm taking this light kind of beige color, and I'm just running it over the edges, and I'm going to run it over the edges on either side. So you see me doing that edge. I'm also going to do the inside edge too, and then I'm going to do all along the bottom, and then I'm also going to do those corner pieces that come up there. Okay, here is how this looks, and you'll notice I got along the sides, I got some on the inside. There, it's supposed to have kind of a aged French country look to it. What I'm going to do now, you see I got it on the edges there and underneath. I'm going to blend this now with some water. So I'm going to take some water, and I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm going to go over some of this, and I'm going to kind of blend it in a little bit and soften it just a little bit with as far as the chippy look goes. So I'm blending this in, and some of this is dripping along the way, so I'm kind of wiping it up as I go. And you see those kind of to the left there, that kind of like larger wet circle there. I'm going to go back over that afterwards, you'll see, and I'm going to fix that and kind of make that less noticeable. All right, just to show you real quick, I have gone back over this, and I have kind of muted out some of those water stains so they're not as noticeable. I rubbed it with a towel to get some of the excess out. Here's one of the things you can do with it when it's done. You can put some nice decor pieces in it, light a candle. Of course, always stay attentive to a candle. This is a wood piece here, so you don't want to leave the candle unattended. You could also use it for your remotes. That's what I'm going to be using it for, actually. Okay, this one is going to be short and sweet. I am going to paint this terracotta pot that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it blue underneath. Then I'm going to cover it with a gray, and then I'm going to whitewash it with a white. So this video is running a little longer than I had anticipated. So I'm going to kind of cut to where I have it all covered in gray. All right, I did one coat of navy blue, and then I covered it with a light gray that I have. It's an apple barrel gray, and I've used it before. It's actually my favorite color gray. Now what you see me doing is I'm taking the Snow White in the apple barrel color paint, and I am just kind of dry brushing around it, giving it some white streaks there, and doing it a little bit heavier on the lip there at the top, kind of making it just a little bit of a two-tone color. So it's a little more gray on the bottom and then a little more of the white on the top. And now I'm just painting a band of, this is a warm beige, also apple barrel. I'm just painting a little stripe around it. I just thought that would give it like a little bit of interest to do a different color there. Okay, I just took a little two-tone piece of twine that I have and I tied it around it. And then I'm just going to take a plastic bag, put it in there. I have this wooden egg from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to just stick that in there, and that's a cute little Easter display. Okay, this last DIY is stacked books, and I'm going to do a little twist on mine, a little bit different than what people normally do. You want 3 books that are the same, so I just went into the Dollar Tree and spent $3 getting 3 books that are exactly the same. I've got my trusty apple barrel paint in Snow White, and I'm going to be painting these all the entire front cover, and it's going to get 2 coats. All right, this is coat number 2. And then you also want to make sure that you open the book up after those dry and cover your edges. You want to make sure that none of that is peeking through either. Okay, I printed these off on my printer. I used Word. I used size 72, and the font is the Edwardian font. Now, if you have smaller books, you're probably going to want to use a smaller font size, but 72 is what I needed for this size book. And then I am trimming them all up. I want them to be flush against the right side of the book, and I'm going to be Mod Podging these onto the binders on the side of the books. So no, these are not my children. Can you guess whose names these are? I am a big reading fan. I love to read the classics, so let me know in the comments if you know what these 3 names are. I just thought it would be a fun little twist on the stack of books DIY. I thought, well, I'll just tie it into literature because they're books. I've got a couple different ways here I'm going to show you that you can style it. This is the first way. It has a little bit more of the farmhouse look to it. But here is how I'm going to do mine. I have this nice navy velvet ribbon. I'm going to use my new glue gun, which this video is running long. I really don't have a lot of time to tell you about it today. I do like it a lot better. It has a nice stand. It's a Chandler. I'm real happy with it. So I'm just going to wrap this little ribbon around here 3 times, and I'm going to secure it with glue. I'm overlapping the ribbon there, and I'm going to secure each end with glue. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to take my flower and I'm going to tuck my 2 little flowers in here, and doesn't that look sweet? Thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me, and I will see you in the next video.